Hello. Today what we're going to be attempting to do is build a gel coat mold with a fiberglass backing to make these two parts off a Ducati. It goes by the foot pegs and it stops your heels from going into the frame of the bike and touching the exhaust or the chain. These two parts are off a friend of mine's Ducati, and we're going to build a mold from them and make them out of carbon fiber. So to start the process, I've got a piece of glass, a clean piece of glass, and the reason I use glass is so that the mold will be perfectly flat, perfectly smooth, and give us a very, very good release. What I'm going to use to suspend the parts off of the glass plate is a yellow filleting wax. And what that does is gives us height and allows us to have a ramp, a part on the carbon fiber mold to pull from, or a slope to give us a flange for the carbon fiber mold. So normally what we'll do is we'll take a clump of wax, put it in the bottom middle of the part, and then press that down onto the glass. We'll do the same thing for the other piece, slightly smaller. And then we're going to put that down over there. Try to ensure that they are pretty much the same height, because what that will give you is the same sort of flange both sides. After that, what we're going to do is take a bit of filleting wax, roll it into like a long bead, and then you start running the filleting wax around the side of the product, and that will give you your flange. That helps when you lay your gel coat, the gel coat lays onto this part of the filleting wax, which then creates the flange. So we're just going to go around the entire product or the entire piece. Try kind of keep it at the same angle. We are going to trim it now, trim and form it. So then we'll go over there, and we want to create the same sort of thing as what we've gone and done that side. And then we're going to basically do the same for the second part, the exact same process. You want to make sure that, like in corners like that or portions like that, that there's no cavity under your part and that it's fully covered by wax. And as I explained now, because when you lay or you put your gel coat on, it will create a mechanical lock, and then you won't be able to get your part out without breaking your gel coat. So you just want to try and take a bit longer when doing this, just to make sure that it is absolutely perfect. And then normally what you want to do is just go along and smooth it out so that there's less polishing and that required on your gel coat once you pull the mold. Okay, so once we've gone through the entire mold and inspected it, what I'm going to do is just give the mold like a quick clean with a cloth and some acetone. Just gonna give a good wipe around the entire mold. And the reason we want to do that is we want to ensure that what we pull on when we make our mold, that we've got a clean surface to work from. Let's clean we'll wipe the parts as well, just to get rid of any waxy oily residue left on top of the actual parts themselves. The rub-in wax that I use is just one that I get from AMT Composite. It's ram wax rub-in. So what you do with this, you take the little sponge that comes with it, you pick up some wax, and then basically you're going to cover and coat your entire product, including your filleting wax, which is the yellow part. So you just want to ensure that you get a nice coat of wax across the entire part of your mold. The reason why we do the wax as well is it just ensures that we get a good release from the, once the mold is complete, the gel coat is dried, the resin backing for the fiberglass is also dried. It just ensures that we get a good release. Last thing you want is your mold to get stuck to what you're pulling the mold from, your part as well. And then there's risk of damaging the actual part when trying to remove the gel coat mold. So rather be safe than sorry, and ensure that we're definitely going to get a release. So I'm coating every part of the mold to ensure that we get an even sort of coat all around. And what we're going to do is, it's a paraffin based wax, so you're going to wait a little bit of time for it to evaporate and leave the wax residue, and we'll come and do a second coat in a little bit. Okay, once we've given time for the first coat of the rub-in wax to dry, we're going to apply a second coat. So follow the exact same procedure. We're going to rub around the entire mold surface for base surface. Okay, and then once that is done, we've covered everywhere on the mold, we're going to allocate again time for it to dry and evaporate, and then we'll do the next step. Okay, next step of the process, the wax is now dried. We're going to apply our PVA release agents. For this I'm using AMT Composites release agent PVA Red. I've worked with it in the past and it actually works very, very well. So what I do for ease of use, I just put it into a little tub and then I use a small paintbrush. You're going to use do easy light streaks or brushes of the release agent, and you want to ensure that you get it everywhere on your, again, you want to make sure you get it everywhere on your part and mold. So we're just going to do even coats of this. We're going to want to put it all over the mold as well. So do a nice coat. Okay, what we're going to do now is prepare to mix our gel coat. The gel coat, I'm going to mix about 200 grams of gel coat. The gel coat I use is from AMT Composites again. It's the just black brush gel coat. I'm going to put on some gloves quickly. It's using a MEKP catalyst for the gel coat, so it's the same as the resin I use for the fiberglass backing, but I'll show you that in a bit. Okay. Just going to give the gel coat a stir up with the tongue. It's a wooden stick. Okay, let's turn on. Yeah, we press the power button to 0 so that we can see the weight of our cup. We don't take that into consideration for the weight. And then let's go and add 200 grams. Mind you, let's actually do 150 odd grams. Okay, let's just put that aside for now. Okay. Now let's reset that. So we've got 155 grams. What we want is around 2%. It's anywhere between 1 and 3% of catalyst. So I'm going to mix 2% of catalyst. 2% of 155 grams is 3.1 grams. So let's add 3.1 grams. Slightly over. Okay, we're done with the scale now. Let's move that out the way. That out the way. And then we can bring our part back into frame over here. Now what I'm going to do, you mix up the gel coat. You've got to mix thoroughly to ensure that every bit of gel coat is mixed with the catalyst Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to paint the gel coat onto the mold. So I'll take a decent helping and then just place. You want to ensure that you get a nice thick gel coat layer down on your parts. And then let's add some gel coat around the edges. Just going to set this down to the side. We'll just go for the bottom, the last little bits out here. Okay, now we'll just set this a little bit. Now what we do, we now wait for the gel coat to start setting. We'll come back in a little bit and have a look. Okay, now what we do is we touch the gel coat with the back of our finger, or with our finger, and it should leave a fingerprint, but it shouldn't transfer across to your finger. So it should feel tacky, but not transfer. Once you reach that stage, we are ready to then do our fiberglass backing. So I'm going to put some gloves on here. Just move this out of frame for a little bit. Bring this back into frame here. What I also did while waiting for that to harden was I just tore up some chopped strand mat, and that just comes in a length, and you just pretty much pull it apart. You tear it like that. So I've torn up a couple pieces of that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix the fiberglass resin. This is a general purpose laminating resin, but a polyester resin. So for this one, I'm going to mix up 300 grams of resin. We'll actually mix quite a bit. So let's see how much I can get into this cup. $340, so let's see if we can get there's $350. For this one we also use the same MEKP catalyst, also mixing at a between 1 and 3% ratio, so I'm going to go 2% again, and that equates to 7 grams. Okay, just going to put the balance back in there. And take that off. Pack the scale away, bring our part back into view, and then I'm just going to mix this up. Same thing here as with the gel coat, you want to ensure that you get every single little bit of resin is mixed with the catalyst. So just give it a good proper mix. As it's mixing, you can see the colors changing from a purple to a brown. Okay, what I'm going to do now, just going to grab a brush here. This gets quite messy with fiberglass, so I'm going to take some resin, just dab it onto the mold. Just get a good coating to wet the mold. And then what we can start doing is laying our fiberglass. So what I'll do is I'm going to add some small pieces into the middle to try and strengthen up the middle between the two pieces of, between our two parts. So let's just dab those in. Try and ensure that you get no air bubbles underneath, in between your fiberglass and your gel coat. So I'm going to tear that up, we'll go there, tear that up, we'll go there, grab another piece, there, there, let's just go a little bit more in the middle. Don't be shy with the resin. When you're doing fiberglassing, when you fiberglass, you want to dab, you don't want to stroke, because what happens is, as the fiberglass sits in the resin, the binding agent that is holding the fiberglass strands together dissolves, and the fibers become loose. And if you start stroking, you start to move those fibers around. So it's better to dab instead of stroke. So now what we can start doing is putting down our bigger pieces. The reason why you want to tear fiberglass is to avoid the cut line, but that's why I'm putting the cut lines towards the edge of my mold. It's going to get cut off when we trim the mold anyway. We must make sure that we crisscross our layers just to give some extra strength to the mold. So I've been placing pieces at random just to ensure that I don't follow the pattern. Okay, now we leave it to cure. It can take up to 24 hours depending on your ambient temperature. So I'm going to leave it for a full day and we will see how it turns out. See you then. Okay, I've given the mold or the fiberglass resin about 24, it's actually more, about 32 hours to dry. What I'm going to do now, just putting some gloves on because I want to give the top coat of fiberglass a bit of sanding because there's a couple of loose strands. On my very last couple pieces the resin was hardening, so I should have done it in 2 steps, but this will work as it's only the top coats. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a sand just to get rid of all the sharp edges. And the reason we do that is when handling the fiberglass mold, once we've trimmed it and we're ready for laying off carbon fibre, it can get in your fingers and it can poke you and cut you. So I'm just going to give it a light sanding all around. And I'm using 100 grit sandpaper. Okay, that's all pretty much sanded up. Now we just need to release the actual mold from the glass backing. Okay, now what we're going to do is we need to release the mold from the glass backing. To do that, I'm just going to use a razor blade, quite a long sharp one, and all we basically need to do is get in under the gel coat and get it to release from the glass, because we painted that red PVA release agent. So let's go all the way around. Let's turn it over to see how far we're still bonding. So it looks to be that we're just bonding by the wax. Okay, I've come up with another idea. What I'm going to try is, I've got this piece of stainless steel filler wire for welding. I'm going to slide that underneath. To the other side. And then basically just pull this along underneath to get it to release. side, so it's easier to manage. And you can go and there we go. Yeah, our mold is released. Now basically we just need to take the wax out. Let me put this down quickly. Okay, what I need to do now is I need to start digging out the... Okay, let me put gloves on first. Don't want fiberglass in my fingers. Okay, what I'm going to start doing now is I need to start digging the wax out of the mold. For that I'm just using a little wooden stick. Makes it easier to get out, and it also doesn't damage the surface of the mold. Obviously it just depends on how hard you press, but I'm not pressing very hard. Okay, here's all that bit out. Okay, what I'm going to try to do now is just to grab the corner and actually pull the metal components out of the mold. So I'm just using a small flat screwdriver, and what I normally do is I dig, I work here in the corner, and the reason I go there is because I know that part is hidden. So there's our old part. Let's just clean the rest of the wax off this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash these parts with thinners, just to clean all this oil and that off them. Or you can use acetone. Let's just take this one out. See how easily this one comes out. Also just as easy. That's the advantages of using that PVA red release. It really gives you a good release off of your product. So let's just clean the rest of this one. What I'm going to do off camera is I'm just going to cut with a grinder to trim the edges off to give us a nice clean working edge, so that I don't injure my fingers or hurt myself. And then we'll start the polishing process, but I'll show you that in a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do, so all I did was I cut the sides and cut a little notch off the corner out of view of camera, so that I didn't get any dust or anything on the camera. What I'm going to start with is taking a little bucket of water and some sandpaper. This is 400 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to sand the edges to take away the sharp corners that were left from cutting. So I'll just give it a sand. next step, we're going to do same sort of thing, which is a 400 grit sandpaper, dip it in water, and then we're going to start polishing inside the mold. I'm not sure if you can see all the streaks and the imperfections and dots inside the mold, and the reason we got that is because our mold surface wasn't perfectly smooth what we were pulling the mold off of. So now what we'll do is we'll come in with a heavier grit paper, which is 400 at the moment, and slowly work our way up to the higher grit. So I'll start 400, then I'll do 600, then I'll do 1200, and then I end up with the last sort of fine sand is a 2500 grit sandpaper, water paper also, and then I'll do a polish, a cut and polish. Take your time when doing this, because the cleaner and better mold surface you get, the better your final product will be. So take some extra time just to ensure that your mold surface is perfectly smooth, or as smooth as you can get it. Just don't rush it, take your time. Okay, now the next stage is going to be to take 600 grit paper, also water paper, and do the next level of sanding, so to get the little bit more fine scratches out. The next grit of paper we're going to go to is a 1200. We go finer and finer each step of the way to get more and more of the little fine scratches on it. Okay, done with the 1200 polishing. The very last polish we're going to, or sand we're going to do, is with the 2500 grit paper. Same story. Wet it up, and now we're just going to do a finishing sand on this. This will sand. What this is going to do is it's going to take out the very fine scratches in the gel coat. So this is your finished sand, or the very last step of sanding you'll do. This one also will take quite a bit of time, because you want to ensure that you get into all the corners, every part of your mold, and you get all those little fine scratches out, because if you don't get those fine scratches out, they're going to show up in your finished carbon fibre bit. But you can also polish out of the carbon fibre bit using the same stages, but I'll show you that in the next video.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy, and silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares. A lot of the fine scratches have come out of this one. I don't feel anything. There's just a little bit more I need to sand in there. The other one. Same situation. I think it's looking quite good with the 2500 grit paper. Just a little bit left to sand inside there, so let's do that quickly. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck. Everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep. Don't give a fuck, can't stop. Unplug, feeling overwhelmed. I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy. Okay, last step I'm going to do is I'm going to polish with an automotive polish. First, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some cut. This is Langsil, so it's an automotive brand. So I'm going to put some cut in each of them. What this will do is it's going to, exactly what it says, cut into the coat itself. It's a very fine polish, like sandpaper. So for this, you're just going to make sure you get everywhere and rub. Sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me. But let's be real anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me. But let's be real anxiety can foggy all this stuff. Now we wait a little bit for it to sort of air dry so that you can then buff it out. Doesn't take that long.
And now you can see how we've gone from that matte finish of the previous sanding to a nice gloss finish. Now that's the cut. Now we're doing the last polish, which is langsol finish. This is an actual polishing shop. So same sort of story. We're going to put a blob in the one, in the other, and we're going to get to working. It is a bit sore on the hands and gets a bit tiring on the hands, but it's worth it at the end. Now let's just wait for it to dry a little bit. So I've allowed it some time for the polish to dry. Now we just got to buff out all this excess polish with a cloth. And we are getting quite a nice hard shine finish. That seems to be looking quite nice. The finish is quite smooth and hard shine, so that will give the carbon fibre a nice finish as well. Yeah, quite happy with the turnout. So yes, you've seen me take a mould from these two pieces for the Ducati. They for your heels, about down by the foot pegs, so that your heels don't go down in the bike and touch the exhaust pipe or the chain. You've seen me take these, make a mold out of it, and in the next video lay some carbon fibre and actually make these bits out of carbon fibre. I'll explain that process to you then. Thank you very much for taking the time and watching. I'll see you in the next video.